So, dear students, we have started that chapter diversity in animal kingdom, diversity in living world rather, and we have talked about the Robert Whittaker's classification of all the living organisms into 5 kingdoms, and we have discussed about 4 kingdoms already in the previous videos: the Monera, the fungi, the Protista, and the plant kingdom. Today we will concentrate mainly on the animal kingdom, that is called as kingdom Animalia. The largest kingdom, of course, in this living world. The kingdom Animalia includes all those organisms which are, multicellular, which are eukaryotic, which have neither a cell wall around the cell nor the chloroplast. So all such organisms were included into kingdom Animalia, but this kingdom, based on certain differences, was then again classified into a subgroup called as subkingdom. So kingdom Animalia is classified into 2 subkingdoms called as Invertebrate and Chordata. So Invertebrata and Chordata are the 2 subgroups made in the kingdom Animalia based on only one character, that is the organisms, the animals which never have any endoskeleton. Endoskeleton means hard structures of bones inside the body. They are generally called as soft bodied animals. There is no hard structure inside their body. They are called as invertebrates, and those which have endoskeleton are called as chordates. So these subkingdoms are further classified into phylums. थोड़ा सा classification देख लेंगे हम लोग, then we'll go into each one of them. The Invertebrata is classified into 8 subphylums. The 8 subphylums, which we will study one by one, of course, are called as Porifera, Coelenterata, then Platyhelminthes, then Nematoda, then came Annelida. These are separate groups, new groups were made because of the difference in their characters, as discussed earlier. The 7th one is called Mollusca, and the 8th one is called as Echinodermata. These are the 8 phylums of the subkingdom Invertebrata. The Chordata was classified only into 2 subkingdoms, the 2 phylums rather. This is itself a subkingdom. It is classified into 2 phylums. The phylums are called as Protochordata and Vertebrata. Now this classification was on the basis of only one thing, that the basic supporting endoskeleton is a hard rod-like, non-flexible structure that is called as notochord. They have a hard rod-like structure which supports their body, which is non-flexible, mind you. It's a very primitive kind of character, as well as vertebrata has a flexible vertebral column, which in common English we call it as backbone, as supporting structure. So these were the two phylums, which were then classified into phylum are classified into classes. इनके classes हम लोग को नहीं देखने हैं. The classes of Protochordata are 3, that is called as Urochordata, Cephalochordata, and Hemichordata. The vertebrates, you are already aware of all this. There are 5 classes of the phylum Vertebrata. They are the fishes, or the pisces, the amphibians, the reptiles. Amphibians के बाद ठीक है, reptiles. Then there are apes, or what you call as birds, and the mammals. So in this 9th standard, you have to study about these 8 phylums of the subkingdom Invertebrata, the 3 classes of the phylum Protochordata, and 5 classes of the phylum Vertebrata. So I will make 2 videos now. One, in this video we will discuss only about invertebrates, and the next video I will talk about chordates, that is both Protochordata and Vertebrata. Let us concentrate in this video only on the invertebrates. Invertebrates, जैसा आपको पता है, 8 different phylums are there. And what are invertebrates? Invertebrates are all those animals which never have any endoskeleton, any hard structure bones inside their body. It is never present there. So such animals are called as invertebrata. We will begin one by one. The first one is called as porifera. Porifera is a Latin term where the pori word means pores and the feran word means the body. So very clearly when you break this name, you will understand that it includes organisms which have pores all over their body. All over their body. Pores all over the body. When you see this organism like this is the organism structure. This is the body as it looks like, and there are a large number of pores on the body. पूरे body पर छेद ही छेद है, pores. There is a huge pore at the top that is called as osculum, and the small pores on the body are called as ostia. O-S-T-I-A. Ostia. So there are pores all over the body. Second thing, you can understand when I draw here like this is the base. What is it? These organisms are fixed or attached to the bottom. Although they are animals, mind you, we are talking about animal kingdom, but they are fixed at the bottom exactly like the plants, So they are also called as non-motile or sessile organism. Non-motile means the organisms are incapable of moving from one place to another place. Sessile का मतलब होता है sedentary. Sedentary मतलब at one place, stationary. So because they are incapable of moving from one place to another place, so they are called as non-motile or sessile. Then they are, of course, animal kingdom में है तो multicellular होना है. They are multicellular, but the cells never join to form tissues. That is, they show the cellular level of organization. इनमें tissues नाम का कोई चीज है ही नहीं. If you see the internal part of this body, if you cut this organism into, if you cut this longitudinally, लंबाई में अगर आप कट करें, you will see that when you cut inside, the body has this thickness like this. The pores which are present on the surface of the body are here. These are the pores present. The pores lead to the inside through tube-like structures like this. The pores, they reach inside, and inside there is what? This is a body cavity. There is a body cavity inside. And the cells, the body is made up of cells, large number of cells. The cells are here at this inner wall surface. Inside also there are cells. So they are separate cells. The cells never join to form tissues. Multicellular है, लेकिन the body is just a group of cells. Now what happens? How do they carry out their life process? You can understand here. The water enters the body through ostia. Through all these ostia, the water enters inside the body. And water enters through the ostia. They are aquatic. They are found in, these organisms are aquatic. They are called sea animals. ये समुद्र में पाए जाते हैं और समुद्र के नीचे अटैच्ड होते हैं. तो समुद्र का पानी जब आता है तो ऑस्टिया से अंदर जाता है. Water enters the body through the ostia. And when water enters inside, what happens? The water, it carries the food and oxygen. The cells, they use the food and oxygen for, you can understand the process, nutrition and respiration. So even though they are attached at one place, they carry out their process of nutrition and respiration. The wastes that are formed, the waste form are released in the cavity, and when the water escapes the body through, कहाँ से water निकलता है? Through the large pore at the top that is called as osculum. Excretion automatically occurs because along with water the wastes are released out. तो सारा water ऐसे ऑस्टिया से अंदर आता है और अंदर आने का फिर osculum से water बाहर चला जाता है. So water brings the food and oxygen. The cells capture the food and oxygen, carry out nutrition and respiration, and the wastes which are formed, they are released in the cavity. और जब water बाहर जाता है तो wastes get released out. So that is how their nutrition, respiration, excretion is carried out, even though they are attached at one place, and that is how their life activities continue. They reproduce also, but the reproduction is by a simple asexual reproduction known as budding. So this is the simplest kind of animal, the completely primitive, extremely simpler kind of organisms which are kept in a group called Porifera. Porifera group का नाम इसलिए पड़ा because all these animals have pores on their body. That is the primary character. Apart from that, the characters are, they are multicellular, but there is no tissue. They are fixed at one place. They are non-motile, and even after getting fixed, they carry out their life activities, and that is how they survive. That is the simplest group called Porifera. I hope you understood that. The next group we will talk about is called as Coelenterata. Coelenterata, these animals develop, or they have a coelenteron. Now coelenteron क्या है? Coelenteron is a body cavity where the food gets digested. Any cavity where food is digested is called a coelenteron. All the animals have a coelenteron. जो पोरीफेरा में नहीं था, आप पढ़ेंगे वो जो कैविटी है, कैविटी में फूड जरूर जाता है, लेकिन उस कैविटी में वो डाइजेस्ट नहीं होता, वहाँ तो वाटर भरा रहता है. The food is captured by the cells, and the food is digested inside the cells. So we cannot call that cavity as coelenteron, but this cavity where food is digested is called a coelenteron. All these animals have a coelenteron. They have a common opening for both the process, that is ingestion and egestion. Food, to capture the food and to release out the undigested food, there is only one opening, and that opening, which we may call as the mouth, is surrounded by whip-like structures called tentacles. So बहुत सारे ऐसे आपने एग्जाम्पल सुने होंगे हाइड्रा के. There are organisms like this, and there is a mouth, and on the mouth there are like this whip-like structures. These structures are used. Mouth is surrounded by whip-like structures called tentacles. To what are they? They only capture the food. और food capture करने के साथ साथ इन tentacles पर on all these tentacles there are stinging cells जिसका नाम है nidoblasts. There are stinging cells on the tentacles which are used to paralyze the prey. Prey मतलब the food or the organism they capture as food. That food is captured and the sting. The sting is penetrated inside, which injects a chemical that paralyzes the prey, and then the food is put inside the mouth. And so these organisms are, of course, the cells here join to form tissues which arrange in two layers, the outer ectoderm and endoderm, and so they are called such organisms which have two layers of tissues. इसके पहले पोरीफेरा में tissues नहीं थे, so this is called as diploblastic. There is a layer of tissue, continuous layer of cells, which is in touch with the atmosphere. The outer layer of group of cells that is called as ectoderm, but इसके ठीक अंदर there is one more layer of cells which is in touch with the internal cavity that is called endoderm, and this cavity where the food is digested is called as coelenteron. Is that clear to you? Fifth, so the food is captured like this, digested, and the cells use them. The reproduction in these organisms occurs by the process called budding, as well as regeneration. क्या होता है इसको? Regeneration. If you cut a small piece of tentacles and keep it, from the tentacle, the all other body parts of Hydra will be formed back, and that process is called as regeneration. So there is a second, little bit more developed group from Porifera of animal kingdom, that is called as Coelenterata. The next groups are called as two groups. The classification I have just now given you, they are called as helminthes. Both are helminthes. Helminthes are nothing but which animals are called as helminthes? The worms. Worms in the sense the animals which crawl or move on their body surface which has no locomotory structures. चलने के लिए उनके पास शरीर के साथ कोई लोकोमोटरी स्ट्रक्चर नहीं जिस पर वो चल पाए और पूरे बॉडी बदन के ऊपर रेंग कर चलते हैं. Such organisms are called as worms and they are of two types. The first one is called as platyhelminthes and second one is called as nemathelminthes or nematoda. In very short we call it nematoda also. So these organisms both are worms. Similarity क्या है? Both are worms. Both are worms means both of them they crawl or move on their body surface. Both are triploblastic. Triploblastic मतलब the tissues which are formed arranged in three layers. Arranging the outer layer that you saw in coelenterate as ectoderm, the inner layer of course endoderm, and there is a central layer developing here that is called as mesoderm. So three layers of tissues, they are called as triploblastic, and both are their way of nutrition is parasitic. So these are the similarities between the two groups. Both are worms, both move on their body surface, both are triploblastic, and both these organisms are they are parasitic by nature. Then why are they kept in two different groups? So there is basic differences between them also. What is the difference? The platyhelminthes has a flat body, flat like a leaf. पत्ता देखने में सामने से ब्रॉड दिखता है, लेकिन जैसे साइड करेंगे तो एकदम पतला बॉडी होगा. फ्लैट बॉडी लाइक दिस, लाइक ए लीफ. फ्रंट से तो चौड़ा लगेगा, लेकिन जब साइड में इसको ऐसे करेंगे तो ये एकदम पतला लाइक ए लीफ होता है, फ्लैट बॉडी. एंड दीज हैव ए राउंड एंड सिलिंड्रिकल बॉडी, राउंड एंड सिलिंड्रिकल बॉडी लाइक दिस. पूरा राउंड सिलिंड्रिकल बॉडी, एग्जैक्टली लाइक दिस मार्कर. इट इज राउंड एंड लाइक ए सिलिंडर. ठीक है, दैट इज द फर्स्ट डिफरेंस. द सेकंड डिफरेंस बिटवीन देम इज दिस वन. द platyhelminthes having flat body are hermaphrodite. Hermaphrodite मतलब they have both male and female sex organs, sexual parts in the same body. Every organism has both male and female sexual parts, but in nemathelminthes you can see the sexes are separate. मतलब you have separate male and female in nematoda. That is a huge difference. And the third difference is there is only one opening in the body, that is the anus is absent. One opening mouth acts as both anus and, but here there is separate mouth and anus. So that is a huge difference between these two groups, you know. Although both are helminthes, but one is flat, the other is round. They have a lot of common characters, but there are differences because of which we have made them into two different groups called platyhelminthes and nemathelminthes. Clear? Then we will come to the next group that is called as Annelida. Annelida is mostly compared with the next higher group that is called as arthropoda. Differences बस ज़्यादा है, थोड़ा सा मेंशन कर लेंगे. इतना जरूर है कि बोथ आर ट्रिप्लोब्लास्टिक। अब इसके बाद जितने भी ऑर्गेनिजम्स आएंगे ऑल आर ट्रिप्लोब्लास्टिक। किसके? प्लैटीहेलमिंथस के बाद जितने भी ऑर्गेनिजम्स हैं, कॉर्डेट्स हो चाहे वर्टिब्रेट्स हो, ऑल आर ट्रिप्लोब्लास्टिक, क्योंकि 3 लेयर ऑफ टिश्यू एक बार बन गया तो वो कंटिन्यू होता है। देन दिस एनालिडा हैज ए राउंड एंड सिलिंड्रिकल बॉडी, round and cylindrical body, but having annular rings on the body. जो नेमाटोडा आपने देखा था, नेमाटोडा का बॉडी बिल्कुल ऐसा राउंड एंड सिलिंड्रिकल जो बनाए थे आपको, वैसा ही इसका भी होता है, लेकिन on the whole body you will see there are large number of rings on the whole body, and there is no differentiation along the body. The whole body has no differentiation. The top and the bottom looks alike. The front and the back looks alike. Whole body is exactly same. Just a look you cannot tell which end is the mouth, which end is the anus. So that is the problem here. But this arthropoda has differentiation in the body, has a differentiated body, where the body develops 3 clear zones, that is head, the second is thorax, and the third is the abdomen. बॉडी पूरी तरह से डिफरेंशिएटेड हो जाता है, एक हेड डेवलप कर जाता है, एक थोरैक्स आ जाता है और एक एब्डोमेन। एब्डोमेन में एन्युलर रिंग्स होते हैं, जिससे पता चलता है कि आर्थ्रोपोडा हैज डेवलप्ड फ्रॉम एनालिडा, क्लियर है? द हेड डेवलप्स सेंस ऑर्गन्स, हियर देयर इज नो सेंस ऑर्गन, but in arthropoda sense organs like eyes, the tentacles, they all develop. The thorax develops the legs, joint legs, और यही काम है आर्थ्रोपोडा में। गौर से देखना, आर्थ्रोस means joint and poda means legs. तो पहली बार the legs develop joints, joint legs develop। जैसे यहाँ से थोरैक्स से 1 2 3 ऐसा पाँव आता है, तो इस पूरे पाँव में यहाँ एक जॉइंट समझते हो ना, हमारे हाथ में यहाँ एक जॉइंट जहाँ से मूवमेंट पॉसिबल है, तो इनके पाँव में ऐसे जॉइंट्स डेवलप हो जाते हैं। पहली बार सच जॉइंट्स आर फॉर्म, ठीक है। यहाँ पर क्या है? लोकोमोटरी स्ट्रक्चर्स आर देयर, लोकोमोटरी स्ट्रक्चर्स चलने में मदद करता है। ये वर्म्स नहीं है, हम प्लेटी और नेमाटोडेल्मेंथिस बताएं, वर्म्स मतलब दे मूव ऑन देयर बॉडी सरफेस, बट ये लोकोमोटरी स्ट्रक्चर्स आर पुअरली डेवलप्ड, लेकिन है, ठीक है ना। पूरे बॉडी में आप देख सकते हो ऐसे जो बॉडी का रिंग्स है उसमें आप देख सकते हैं ऐसे छोटे छोटे स्ट्रक्चर्स, डॉट लाइक स्ट्रक्चर्स, और देयर आर नीडल लाइक स्ट्रक्चर्स, such needle-like structures, or in some there are flat structures coming out of the body like this. So there are 3 types of such locomotory organs. They are called as setae, S-E-T-A-E, setae, or C-H-A-E-T-A-E, ketae. Setae, ketae, or parapodia are very simple locomotory structures. Unlike this, the thorax develop joint legs. Some animals also develop wings on the thorax. आपको यहाँ पर wings भी नजर आ जाएंगे इनमें ऐसे। So you can clearly see a huge change from Annelida to Arthropoda. Annelida, the organisms are again hermaphrodite. क्या होते हैं ये? Annelida, the 2 sex organs, male and female sex organs, are present in the same body, but here you will see the sexes are separate. That is a huge difference. Second is These organisms shows a closed circulatory system, but arthropoda shows a open circulatory system. ये एक थोड़ा सा disadvantages कह सकते हैं. Closed circulatory system मतलब the blood flows in closed tubes, arteries and veins. That is a very advanced quality. But when we see all the other characters are advanced in arthropoda, काफी ज़्यादा changes, better changes आए. But this one quality, the advanced closed circulatory system has changed into open circulatory system, which is a very poor quality in arthropoda, where the blood does not flow in arteries and veins. The blood is filled in the body cavity, and all the organs are surrounded by the blood. So most of the work occurs by diffusion. So these are the most important groups that we have discussed of invertebrata, the porifera, the coelenterata, the platyhelminthes, nemathelminthes, annelida and arthropoda. Due to shortage of time, I am concluding this video here. I will continue the next video with the two groups of invertebrata left, that is mollusca and echinodermata, and I will cover there the portions of protochordata and vertebrata. इसी वीडियो के स्टार्टिंग में मैंने आपको क्लासिफिकेशन दे दिया है, जिसमें तीन मेन ग्रुप हमको पढ़ना है: इनवर्टिब्रेट, प्रोटोकॉर्डेट एंड वर्टिब्रेट. इनवर्टिब्रेट में 8 फाइलम्स हैं, जिसमें वी हैव डिस्कस्ड 6 फाइलम्स ऑलरेडी in this video. The rest of the 2 I'll cover in the next video. Thank you very much.